Today we're back at the White House. We're going to take a tour of the second floor.
As we approach the upstairs hallway, we're going to have an opportunity to see some of the art that Miss Battles did. This is a wonderful example of her pastels. Note the color. Next, we're going to take a look at one of her works in a charcoal. It's a hard medium, Kensby Messy. She did a wonderful job. Finally, we have the medium that she liked the most, watercolor. She did a number of watercolors, often florals. As we're looking over here, we're seeing some of the correspondence that she had. Back in the day, I guess this would have been like an online class. She was kind of in Girard, but she was doing correspondence with someone from New York City who was critiquing her work and showing her how to improve upon what she did. These are her pastels, her brushes, and this is another example of one of the things she was working on for her correspondence. You can see the gridding and some of the techniques that we still use today. Very interesting to read what the critiques were and her responses to those critiques. Another example of a watercolor floral. And here is a final example of one of her early watercolors. As we look at a closer view of her brushes and her watercolors and her pastels, it's interesting to see where they came from and the condition that they were in as she used them. It's kind of looking right back into history to see what she was doing at the time.
This is the front bedroom. In later years, this was known to be used as a guest room. The bed was purchased from Buffalo in the 1880s. Like many of the rooms, there are artifacts that were left from the family. Moving down the hallway, we enter into the south central bedroom. This room was redecorated by the Historical Society in 1992. We're not sure who used this bedroom. The spinning wheel was found in the attic. We do know that the spinning wheel belonged to Mr. Battles' mother, Elizabeth Brown Battles. Miss Charlotte Elizabeth kept it in the front living room to remind her that her grandparents came to Girard when it was wilderness and they worked hard to clear the forest to make the farm. Many of the items in display in this room are children's toys. As we leave the bedroom, we're entering into a hallway which showcases some built-in drawers and cupboards and a very narrow closet. In the mid-1800s, closets were only about 14 to 18 inches deep. Clothes were often hung from pegs or folded. Hangers were generally not used till the 20th century, and they were initially called shoulders. We also have this set of built-ins where many of her hats are displayed. As we move from this small hallway, a visitor enters into Charlotte Elizabeth Battles' bedroom. We've decided to highlight many of the artifacts from local stores that used to exist in Erie and of her many travels. The desk in the corner was moved into the house in 1948 and belonged to Charlotte Elizabeth's uncle, Charles Webster. This bedroom was added in the 1920s following the death of her parents. Several years before Miss Charlotte Webster Battles' death, Elizabeth Battles hired Georgiana Reed, who was a manicurist at a salon in Erie. Miss Reed was hired to care for Charlotte Elizabeth's sick mother. Nan moved into the home permanently to help care for the home and to be a companion for Charlotte. The highboy in the back right corner and the bed belonged to Nan's family, and they were family pieces that she moved into the home upon Charlotte Elizabeth's death. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Charlotte Elizabeth Battles and Georgiana Reed traveled throughout the southern and western United States. It was not uncommon for these ladies to spend several months away from their Girard home. Miss Reed learned to drive and often drove both of them to their destinations.
Here are some of the artifacts and suitcases and cameras and driving gloves from their many travels.
Charlotte Elizabeth dies December 17, 1952, at the age of 88. From 1952 to 1982, Georgiana Reed lives in the house but leaves most of the contents virtually untouched, as you can see from the many artifacts. She continues to run the farm business by way of tenant families until her death in 1982. In 1967, Nan made it her wish is known that she wanted the house to be left as a museum. Here's an example of a magazine from 1946 left on the nightstand. The house was given to the Historical Society. They assumed care for it in the early 90s. When Charlotte Elizabeth added on to the home in 1926, she also modernized this bathroom. This bathroom was considered the height of fashion, with such conveniences as the towel bars by the tub and the built-in soap holder. Moving from the bathroom, we enter into the back part of the home where there are 2 small bedrooms and attic storage. From verbal research, it was found that Rush and Charlotte Webster Battles had live-in servants. Charlotte Elizabeth Battles did not employ live-in servants. This is the back staircase that can be entered from the dining room, and there's a small door from the downstairs bathroom. This shows a view into one of the smaller bedrooms. Those steps lead into the bathroom, and here is the second small bedroom. Objects in this bedroom were also found in the attic and placed in these rooms.
From this room, you get a wonderful view of the dovecote. People used the dovecote to keep doves, which they used for eating. Here we have a view of the garden. At one point, it was a little bit larger and more elaborate. They had 2.5 full-time gardeners.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope that someday you'll make it out to Girard, Pennsylvania, so you can tour this home. If not, at least come out and enjoy these beautiful gardens. Charlotte Elizabeth Battles' obituary stated that she was a truly great patriot and citizen benefactor and philanthropist. I certainly think from our research we found that to be true. At a time when her father could have given these businesses to an uncle or a relative, Charlotte was left in charge of a bank and running the family farm. Charlotte Elizabeth was college educated at a time in the United States when opportunities in educational institutions for women were scarce.
Thanks for sharing with us, and keep checking back for more videos.